So I've watched hours of Pierre Poilievre rally footage over the last couple weeks, and I've started to notice some patterns. Pierre always walks into his rallies to the same song. That would be crazy. He walks into a Canadian country pop song by Brett Kissel called Our Home, which sets a misleadingly unifying and hopeful tone for the rally, because honestly, Poilievre rallies are kind of dark. He always brings up the Liberals and the lost Liberal decade within the first 5 minutes.
Lost Liberal decade. Mark Carney, fourth Liberal term, lost Liberal decade.
He usually points out that Canadians can buy a castle in Europe for less than they can buy a house in whatever city he's rallying in, which is true, by the way.
And that you can actually buy a castle in Sweden for a lower price than a mid-sized house in Kitchener.
And he always opens his rallies with the same 5 questions.
Who's ready to vote for a change? Who's voting to axe some taxes for a change? Build homes you can afford for a change. Stop the crime for a change. And who's voting to put Canada first for a change?
You can sum up Pierre Poilievre rallies with one word: change.
Look at that, change. Deliver the change. Lower your taxes for a change. Change. Lots of change. Lots of people want change today, that's for sure. Change in government for a change.
Poilievre rallies aren't about his policy, and that's because he's not selling substance. He's selling the absence of something. He's selling the sunset of a liberal era of rampant crime, unaffordable housing, runaway inflation, high taxes, and an inefficient government that's pushing the Canadian dream of living in a nice big house on a safe street out of your grasp. Which isn't like a totally inaccurate picture of Canada, and a nice break from the liberal insistence that everything is fine, guys, shut the f up. But it's a distraction from the fact that Pierre's policies are, absent of substance. Axing the sales tax on new homes under $1.3 million, cutting sales taxes on like 6 car models and only for the duration of the tariffs, cutting 25% of bureaucracy, whatever that means, giving tax breaks to mega polluters. Like, with the exception of cutting lower bracket income tax and training up tradespeople, Poilievre's policies genuinely aren't gonna improve our lives. And I'm not saying that because I ride for the Liberals or for any party. I'm saying it because Pierre is trying to swindle us into believing that if we give some of the most highly profitable industries in the world even more power, somehow Canada will be fixed. For example, Pierre's plan to make Canada shovel ready for pipelines and LNG terminals will mainly benefit fossil fuel corporations and the billionaires who back them, some of whom, by the way, are mega billionaires with close ties to Donald Trump. Young men make up a big chunk of Poilievre's voter base, and it's unclear whether they'll actually benefit the most from what he's selling. But according to Jordan Peterson, it's idiotically empathic leftist women who are the greatest threat to young men. As an idiotically empathic leftist woman, I just want you to know, I'm not trying to steal your future. I just want to hang out with my friends, dude. Conspiracy theory? What if it's actually the podcasters, politicians, and sociopathic billionaires trying to ensnare you in their misogynistic fossil fuel death cult who are actually threatening your future? But if there's one word you'll never hear at a Poilievre rally, it's billionaire.
I will axe the tax for real, for everyone, for good, for a change.